Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. The life of humanity is a mystery on this earth. We all have this mind that is constantly thinking, yet we cannot understand what goes on in other people's minds. There is like a locked box of each mind. We can't penetrate others, and they can't penetrate ours. The mind of others is an unknown. Sometimes our own mind is an unknown. When a cat is on a building, on a flat wall, they have the ability to hold on to some walls. But if you try to predict which way they're going to jump when they get off, you can never predict. You can't figure out which way the cat's going to jump. It's similar with our minds. Which way is the mind going to go, and what's going to influence it to go in a certain way? We are born into this world, and we are born as strangers into a place that is strange to us. And as we open our eyes into the world as children, this is a place of first impression. This is a place that we have no experience in. This is a place that we don't know about. We are weak. We are helpless. We are without language. We are without physical skill. We are without. Slowly, we begin to grow, and we begin to mature, and our eyes become open to the world. Our ears become open to the world. Our mouths become open to the world. Our nose becomes open to the world, and we see, and we hear, and we smell, and we make noises. And slowly, these noises that we make become words through imitating what we hear. They become words that have meaning. Usually, the first word is mama or dada. And mama is the one that the child is the closest to. The child is dependent on the mother for its life in its formative years. Without the mother, it would be very difficult for the child to make any progress. And if a child doesn't have a mother, it's lacking something that's incredibly essential to its growth. A mother loves the child, and the security that a mother gives to a child in its formative years lasts with that child throughout its life. And the lack of a mother's love that a child doesn't get in its formative years can have a substantial influence on that child as it gets older. But each of us, male or female, goes through our formative years learning first from our parents, who are our first teachers, and then we enter school and we learn from school. Now, what it is that we learn depends who it is that our parents are and what is being taught in the school that we go to. In the United States, we have public schools and we have private schools. Many of the private schools are religiously run schools, schools that teach the religion that they are ascribed to. And depending on whether that religion gives accurate information or not, the child gets accurate information or not. As the child progresses, everybody comes to the understanding that they want some kind of peace. They want some kind of tranquility in their lives. They want some kind of serenity in their lives. But everyone tries to get this serenity in the beginning from the things that they see. In other words, we think, we believe that that which is seen by us will somehow give us peace. That which we desire, upon getting it, will somehow give us peace. The ideas that come into our mind, we believe that the resolution of those ideas will somehow give us peace. And we interact with the things that we see, hear, smell, taste, and believe that they will somehow give us peace. As we go on in life, as we become older, we find that the material things in this world that we thought would give us peace, in fact, do not give us peace. At the same time that we resolve the situations that the mind presents before us, as soon as we resolve one issue, somehow another issue arises. There seems to be no end of issues involving the things that we see. It seems inexplicable. And as soon as we get to the point where we think we can rest, something else pops up. How does this happen? We ask ourselves. Well, the answer is in the location and what it is that we think we're going to find peace in. This world is made up of 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and ether. And everything that we see, taste, smell, hear with these senses of ours, we believe can bring us peace if that's what our mind dictates at the moment. Well, there is a basic fallacy in all of this kind of thinking. And that fallacy is that we believe peace can be found in the world. That we believe that through things elemental, somehow peace is attainable. Now, you have to understand that this kind of thinking has taken on international proportions. Millions of people believe that economic security will bring peace and that world economic systems that are focused on giving people economic security will create a utopia on earth. And people will kill other people in order to establish this utopia. People will fight with other people to establish this utopia, because this idea that they have of economic equality and economic peace and peace through economic equality, they believe in as much as other people believe in God. As a matter of fact, the ones who believe in the world satisfying man and creating a utopia in the world, they take God out of the equation, because they say it's not about God, it's about that which is in this world, and that which is in this world can bring us peace. There is also a basic fallacy there, because again, it relies on things that we can see. Now, sometime in our life, if we are fortunate, if we have somehow been brought into the presence of someone who understands this creation and how it works, we are brought a new point of view. A point of view that says the only thing that can bring you peace is what you can't see. And that's sort of a strange concept to someone who's lived their whole life enmeshed in what they can see and trying to resolve problems in what they can see and trying to resolve problems in what they can't touch. And then you're told there's something beyond what you can see and what you can touch and what you can smell and what you can hear. That is the only place that you can find peace. And all of this work that you've been doing isn't going to get you anywhere as far as finding peace. It's just going to enmess you in this world more and more and more. And then they come along and tell you, this person who understands the nature of existence, that everything you see is an illusion. Everything you see isn't real. Everything you see is temporary, disappears, and has nothing of value that it can give you in the long run. And then you begin to scratch your head and say, well, what is it that you're talking about? What is it that you have to offer me? What is it that is different than everything elemental that we see? And what is it that is outside of the realms of illusion? What is it? And then the man who understands how this world works tells you there is a power, and that power is called God. And that power created us and everything else that we see. And that power sustains and nourishes all that we see. And that power loves his creation. And that power is merciful towards his creation. And that power wants his creation to know the power that created him. And more than that, he wants the creation to know that the power that created the creation put some of that power inside of each man. And that man and woman are capable of coming to know that power, understand how that power works, and become associated with that power. And as you sit with the man who understands the way the world works, you begin to see that he is a manifestation of what he's talking about. You begin to see that he is an example of what he's talking about. And as you begin to understand that, the reality of what he's talking about begins to formulate, because now you see it in front of you. It's not just a theory. It's not just an idea. It's a manifest reality that our senses can comprehend. So we are being told that what is important to us is beyond our senses being able to comprehend, yet we are shown a manifest reality of that which is beyond our sensual perception. Conundrums. Conundrums shouldn't lead us astray. Things that we can't understand shouldn't lead us astray. He tells us it takes time to begin to understand what he's talking about. And he says it takes a minimum of 12 years to begin to conceptually understand what he's talking about. And what he's talking about, and at the core of this understanding, is going from what we can see and believing in what we can see and believing our life exists within what we can see, going to the unknown, going to that which we cannot see, going to that which is formless, going to that which is not elemental, going to that wherein earth, air, fire, water, and ether don't exist, where something else is what holds things together there. Going from this manifest elemental world into a world of light where the elements have no place, where something else is going on entirely. And then he begins to explain to us the concept of qualities, the concept of the fact that there are formless, non-elemental entities that exist in reality that are beyond our sight, beyond our senses, but are more real than anything our senses encounter or our senses hold real. And he begins to tell us about this creator of ours who is formless, but is somehow made up of all of these qualities. Then conundrums start again. He says the creator is one, but the creator is known as Rahman, the creator is known as Rahim, the creator is known as love, the creator is known as Latif, the creator is known by so many different names and so many different qualities. Yet, Allahu Achad, God is one. So we understand, or we begin to understand, that within the unity of creation, there are more than one formless thing. When they come together, form one thing. And each separate part is so totally integrated within the whole that it is one, even though we give it different names and we give it different descriptions and we act as if it were something different. Yet in its reality, it is absolutely, totally integrated with each other as that one. So Allah's 3,000 gracious qualities and 99 names, which are the attributes by which he runs this world, even though they appear to be separate and different, they are integrated into one, just as the teacher who tells us about these things is one, and we see different aspects of him, yet that does not alter his unity. So we see the incredibly somber teacher, the incredibly loving teacher, the incredibly humorous teacher, and the incredibly unknown teacher who is beyond our ability to comprehend. Yet all of these make up the teacher and make up that one. And then he tells us that everything that we see in him and everything that we understand about him and everything that he tells us about him is there so that you can see the sections of those things in yourself. So he did not come here as a separate entity. He came here as an identity. He came here as your identity. He came to let you know that what he's talking about exists in reality and can exist for you, and explains to you how this happens and how one can enter into that place where all of that exists. He explains to you that all of these formless qualities that make up the unity of the power that is the creator are available to each and every one of us. And he tells us in the same way that there was a unity within the creator, there was a unity within all of mankind, and the differences that we see in mankind, the differences of religion, the differences of castes, the differences of nationality, the differences of color, the differences of races, all of these differences that are seen and understood by the mind and the eye are an illness that we have, an illness of the mind, because these things don't exist. These things are manufactured because of the nature of the mind and the nature of desire. And then he goes on to explain to us the nature of the mind and the nature of desire and the nature of this self that is us. And what he explains to us is that there are various parts within us. And when we were created, the entire universe was placed within us. So we contain within us that which is godly and that which is satanic. And he explains to us that that which is evil is that which is satanic. And he explains that enmity and arrogance and hatred are things that happen within us because of the arrogance of creation. Once we were created, we began to think that we are somehow independent. Somehow we are self-sufficient and able to carry on our existence by ourselves. Because when we look at ourselves, we don't see strings, We don't see batteries. We don't see ourselves attached to anything that's running us. So we conclude we are independent. And he explains to us that we are not independent. That without, without the Lord's constant sustenance and maintenance of us, we would disappear. And that this sustenance and maintenance goes on continuously. And he tells us that in order to understand the true nature of our existence, we have to become small. Our mind tells us we have to become large. Our ego tells us we have to become powerful. Our self, our nafs, our lower self, tells us we have to be able to suppress everyone else to make ourselves the most important. And the sheikh tells us you have to become smaller and smaller and smaller so that Allah is the most important. And you understand your place within Allah and your place within existence. And that as the smaller you get, he reacts to you in a way that he becomes smaller than you and lifts you up. There's a story of a great teacher who, whenever something difficult arose in his nation, he would go into the woods, light a fire, and pray to resolve this situation that needed to be resolved. And in time, the situation would be resolved, even if it required miracles. Time passed, and the next teacher knew about the place, knew how to start the fire, but only remembered some of the words of prayer. So he went to the place, he started the fire, and with what little words he knew, he begged of his creator. And the creator resolved the situation, even if a miracle was required. In the next generation, they still knew the man who was the leader then, still knew where the place was, but he forgot to light the fire or knew how to light the fire, and he forgot the words, but he still went to the place. And in that place, he did the best he can with what he had. But he said to God, I'm here. I'm in the place that one needs to be to have what's accomplished. And what needed to be accomplished was accomplished, even if it took a miracle. In the next generation, they forgot the place where the wise men went. They forgot how to light the fire. And they forgot the words. But they knew the story. And they said, God, I know what used to happen. I don't know how it happened, but it needs to happen again. And that's where we are. We don't know the place where the holy men went. We don't know how they lit the fire. And we don't know the words in the prayer. But we know that it happened. And we know the story. So we can say to God, we have the intention. We don't have the knowledge. We have the idea, but we don't have the knowledge. But we do have the surrender to you and the faith in you that you will accomplish for us what needs to be accomplished. So each of us has to carry on this intention. Each of us has to carry on this story that Allah, through man, helps other men to accomplish things and to resolve situations. Allah, since the beginning of time, has sent vibrations into this world. And he has sent men with the unique ability to pick up these vibrations and disseminated throughout the rest of humanity. So even though not everybody can pick up these vibrations, they can pick up the words from the men who can pick up the vibrations, the prophets, the saints, the ketubs. And so whatever state we are in, truth is available to us if we allow truth to enter us. So if we love everything that we see, and if the love of what we see overwhelms us to the point that we lose touch with the formless, we lose touch with the understanding of what we cannot see, we lose touch with the qualities of what we cannot see, we lose touch with the makeup of what the Creator is, we will be lost. But if we can keep that intention that we surrender to that which we can't see, and we pray that we will be able to understand what we can't see, and we pray that light will come to us and we will become part of that light and understand that light, then we can look into ourselves and look into our own hearts and see that place in our hearts that Allah has made as a home for himself, that little piece of himself that he has put into each and every one of us, and know that we carry that spark of divinity, and that our path is from divinity to return to divinity, and that then all of these separations, there is an essential unity that exists, even though the eyes don't see that unity, but see separateness. In truth, that unity exists because the light that is that unity, that contains all of that formless quality, all of that formless, gracious energies, exists within us and is connected to that reality. And our path is to be able to go from that which is seen to that which is unseen, to believe in that which is unseen and give up our belief in that which is seen, to begin to love that which is unseen and give up the love for this world that these eyes can see. We must become more subtle beings, beings with understanding that is beyond the physical senses, beings that understand the nature of things is beyond the physical senses. Recently, within the last 110 years, man has, the scientists have discovered that beneath what is the physical world that we see, touch, and feel, that works according to the laws of physics of the physical, something else exists. And it's so profound and so complex that we can't explain it and we can't understand how it works. But underneath of everything we see, there is a reality that is what is beneath it all. And so the scientists know that there's more to existence than what the eye can see. They don't know what it is. What exists below what the eye can see, what exists within what the eye can see, is Allah's glory and his creation, Allah's handiwork that holds everything together. And Allah is in every bit and portion of this spread out everywhere, yet in a state of unity with all of it and in a state of unity within ourselves. Now, there's so much that we don't know. There's so much that we don't seem to be able to comprehend. So, what is it that we need to do? We need to believe that we will be shown all that we need to know. And the unity of existence will be opened up to us. And the effulgence of reality will be opened up to us. And the grace that is within reality will be opened up with us. And Allah will reveal himself to each and every one of us in our time so that we can share in what he is. Allah is Rahman, and he allows us to feel Rahman. The true treasures that exist in this world are the treasures that are Allah's quality. And when we understand that, when we attach ourselves to that, and when we begin to believe in that, and believe in that more than we believe in this physical world, then our true nature will come to be. We will come to know ourselves, and in knowing ourselves, we'll come to know our Lord. May this happen for each and every one of us. May our eyes open, and we see with the eyes within the eyes. We hear with the ears within the ears. We smell with the nose within the nose, and we touch reality, and we become part of reality. May it happen for each of us. Ameen. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.